So could you tell us where you're from, your cultural background first, please?
Sure. I was born in the country that no longer exists. It used to be the biggest country in the world, which later became 15 independent states, and I grew up in one of them. It's called Kazakhstan, and it's situated in Central Asia. I lived there until I was 17, and while I was still in high school, I spent 1 year on an exchange program in the United States. So when I was 17, I moved to Russia, and I lived in Moscow, where I studied and where I graduated from college and went on to become a journalist. And I lived there for 14 years. Then I married a foreigner. I married an Italian citizen and moved to Italy, where I lived for almost 10 years. Before moving to Switzerland, where I now live.
Wow. So how many languages you speak then?
Well, apart from, in addition to my mother tongue, which is Russian, I speak fluently English, and I also speak Italian.
Wow. Okay. So now I understand you have a daughter. How old is she?
Yes, I do. She is 7 years old.
And so can you tell me, did she ever go to kindergarten or daycare before she went to formal school? I understand she's in first grade now. Is she in first grade?
She is in second grade.
Oh, she's in second grade. So did she go to like a daycare or a kindergarten, whatever it is called?
She did. When she turned 12 months old, we decided to send her to a nursery school, which is basically where we lived in Italy. Kids can start going there from when they're about 4 months old, and they go there until they're about 3 years old. And this was based on basically two factors. The first, I was about to get a job. I was actually actively looking for a job, and so I needed somebody to take care of my child. And when we actually started thinking, we had two options, whether to find a nanny or to send her to an official city, like sort of, it's not a private, it's rather a municipal or city sponsored daycare, right? Not daycare, nursery school. And we decided, we opted basically for the second option because we wanted her to socialize, to start getting used to being in a group of children. And we also picked this option for security reasons, safety reasons, because she was obviously to stay with people who were trained. In Italy, municipal or like city, state-run nursery schools are highly competitive job places. And so people actually need to make a great effort to be taken, like to go and work there. So, when you go there and we actually loved the place. It was a simple place, but the people who were educators, the ladies who were educators, they were amazing. And Nadia actually, my daughter, she actually learned a lot from being there, apart from being used to being in a group of children, but she actually learned, many important, like
skills.
The most skills. Yes.
So can you say that the quality of the daycare that she went to was comparable to, let's say, private daycare or even better? You're saying that the quality was very good.
The quality was excellent, and we were never concerned. Like in Italy, when I think so many factors. It depends on where you are, and you
financially.
No. It depends on geographically,
Okay.
because sometimes in certain parts, private private nursery schools, private daycare is much better than the state-run one, the public ones. But in where we were, we knew that it's actually, the public ones are much better than the private ones. And very often you go to a private one because you are not accepted at the public, because you actually have to make a list, to sort of qualify for being able to be able to send your child to a public nursery school, because at least you have to, at least one parent must be working. So, and you have to clearly demonstrate that there is a need for your child to go to, yes, if you're obviously, yeah. And so in many cities like Milan, for example, in bigger cities, it's almost impossible to get in there if at least one of the parent is at home as a stay-home parent. So, and to me, it was never about, like, I was never in the mentality where I thought a private school would certainly be better than a public one. I was just, for me, I could see that my daughter was actually loving the place. She was never in a bad mood to go there. She always stayed there, without any, crying,
Happy.
So yes, she was actually happy, yeah. And so that was the first sort of, until she was 3 years old. And then she went on to what's in Italy, we call it maternity school. So it's a preschool that lasts from 3 years old until they are 6 years old. So they go there for 3 years. And this is more of a kindergarten, where actually, more things are expected from children in terms of discipline, in terms of education, in terms of following the routine of the group. So the approach is less individualistic than in a nursery school, and rather more of like how they actually learn to be part of the group with, rules, and them being expected to actually, follow more rules, and not be so self-centered, which was a little bit of a shock for us when we first sent her there and when we started hearing feedback. But in the end, it actually worked out very well for her.
Can I ask you about the cost of the daycare? How was it? What was the cost? I mean, was it very expensive or not too expensive? How was it?
In our case, it was not, but it's actually the cost of the way it works. The nursery school that Nadia went to was a public one, and the cost depends on your family income, the declared family income. Because I was not working at the time yet, it was actually not costly at all. It was about 100 euros a month. So, but it can be as high as 600 euros a month, depending on your family income. When children go to kindergartens, if it's a state-run kindergarten, as it was in our case, it's free, but you have to pay for canteen, for food, basically. And the maximum amount that you pay for the food, the daily food allowance, is 150 euros a month.
Not bad.